A very blessed moment and opportunity that I strongly believe God has given you, my dear viewer. Wherever you are viewing this, wherever you are watching this, a number of you are joining us via YouTube Live, a number of you are joining via Facebook Live, and a number of you are joining via TV, Destiny Television. You are very, very, very much welcome. Morris Olo is my name, and this is your favorite show, Within the Pages. And you know, within the pages, I take the time to demystify some of the things that God has graciously helped me to pen down for our generation, for the church, for the believers, and for all of us. And what an exciting time it has been. I want you to know that I've received your correspondence, your messages, your comments. If you're watching on Facebook Live, this is the time to tag someone, call someone on board, inform someone that I am live, take the video, share it, and this subject I'm about to discuss, and I'm having a man of God join me in studio. I'm always very, very cognizant of the fact that people are waiting and watching from different time zones. It may be noon where we are, it may be nighttime where we are, it may be noon in some other part of the globe, and therefore, whichever time you watch, no timing changes the truth of the word of the living God. Share the video, invite someone, tag someone, press the like button so that every time I'll be going live, even if you're not my friend on Facebook, you're able to get the notification and you're able to become part of what God is about to do. And I am having a very, very special man of God with me in studio, Apostle Raphael Enoch, the senior pastor, Living Springs.
Yes, sir.
International Churches. Man, we have to observe all protocol.
I hear you, sir. Yes.
You are very much welcome.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
It's a delight to be here. I'm deeply honored. Thank you for having me, sir.
Thank you.
Yes.
I am equally delighted. I have a very deep sense of reverence and honor for anybody that has said yes to the call, because the calling of God has a lot of things.
Yes, sir. True.
And when you see people standing despite the waves that the enemy has tried to wield against them, any man that takes care of souls, Hebrews chapter number 13, verse number 17 says, obey your spiritual leaders, obey those that rule over you, yes. For they watch over your soul. Let them do this with joy and not with grief, for that would be unprofitable to you. God himself is calling the people to obey these people that are in spiritual leadership, because spiritual leadership involves too much, that when you see a man keeping on going, you have to just have a deep-seated respect for him. And we honor you. You are very much welcome.
Thank you, sir.
And we know we're going to be blessed by what you have to say.
Thank you. I'm deeply honored. I appreciate that. Yes.
Amen. My dear viewers, Pastor Enoch, Pastor Raphael Enoch, Apostle Raphael Enoch, is a dear friend of mine, and he pastors a church in Ongata Rongai. He could be able to tell us also where the location is of the church, and just a bit about the church and the ministry and what you do, man of God. It's very important. Somebody could be watching you for the first time.
Oh, thank you very much once again, dear Apostle. I truly appreciate. Like you said, the name of the church is Living Springs Chapel. We are on Masai Lodge Road.
Okay.
Just behind Africa Fuels. Before you get into Ongata Rongai, the first stage is Masai Lodge stage. So when you're light there, around 500 meters off, then we're just next to that road.
Wow.
Yes.
Somebody could be watching who's just living very close there.
Wow.
So what you're going to be hearing tonight is accessible there, and this is the set man. I've preached for them.
Oh yes, yes, yeah. You have. It was amazing. We're still recovering from the encounter.
Man.
Yes, we truly appreciate your visit. Hopefully, we'll have you back soon if your schedule allows.
My schedule always allows. You see, man of God, I don't know, there's this notion that people have that it is very difficult to have me to come and preach. I've also even had people that when they are invited to go and speak, they give a whole lot of lists of things that have to be done. You're going to pick me this number of bodyguards, and there has to be this number of chase cars, and you have to give me this level of offering for me to come. And we always make a mistake that when God has graced someone in a small way, even before meeting the person, we begin to build those notions in our minds. I've learned, and you'll be shocked by this man of God, that several people that hate you don't hate you because they know you. They hate you based on a notion that somebody gave them about you. And you realize someone will meet you and sit down with you and will wonder, okay, so now this is Pastor Enoch. I don't know if you've ever suffered the same,
True.
where someone just heard about you, and maybe based on the way you are, the way you carry out yourself, and they just concluded it is very expensive to have this man.
Very true. And I think I can boldly tell our viewers that I've had you over. There were no demands. It was very easy. You made it very easy. But man of God, you also must say there's some people that when you invite, you feel a lot of pressure. I had no pressure at all. You made me feel right at home.
Yes.
Our people were blessed in our simplicity, and we truly appreciated that.
Amen.
And we pray that God helps you keep up with that heart. I've seen you go places that generally, like you said, people may not relate to you just because of the way God has blessed you. I've seen you preach in places, and so let people know you by themselves, not to hear from somebody else. I think that's the best thing.
I will never forget, I went to preach in a certain country, and when I got there, they picked me right from the plane. I didn't go through the immigration. They picked my passport, and they did the rest. I was myself wondering, what is all this? And the vehicles that had come to pick me, they came all the way to the... I've never seen, vehicles coming to the runway. And I just got off the plane, and they put me in the vehicle. And by the time they are bringing my passport to me, it was a whole... I was wondering, is there somebody else they are taking me so that we go and pick, or am I the one that they have come to pick? And it was really, really something. I saw honor. I saw deep-seated honor. And you see, you don't pick that and begin to project that on every other church. That was their capacity. That is what they were able to do. That was their view of honor and how they received their guests. Now, I'll be wrong to take that and begin to project that on every other ministry that wants to host me, that now you must know my level. If I'm coming to preach, you must pick me from the plane. You must fly me first class, and all those kind of things. Sometimes what I do also, man of God, is if a ministry invites me and they are not in a position to handle me a certain way, and I'm able to handle myself in a way I feel comfortable about it, and I'm in a position to do it, why not? To make their work easy. Because I think we are building the kingdom.
True.
It's not about what at the end of the day I'll carry in my pocket and go with. That was just by the way, our dear viewers. So I had a great time in their ministry, in their church, at the Living Springs Church Chapel, and we were tremendously blessed. Now, we want to share something, man of God, that is, I do believe is going to be affecting captains of industries, anybody called a leader, anybody that has nurtured people. Even as a housewife, you must have nurtured people.
True.
Being married into a family, you must have nurtured people. We are all leaders in our own capacities.
Yes, sir.
So sometimes when we do leadership talks, we always think that is bordering on the pastor, on the man of God, as much as we will be centering a little bit more on ministry. But anybody that has been involved with leadership will resonate and will be able to will be able to flow with what we're about to say.
Yes, sir.
Because raising people and having people look up to you and producing people and making people move from point A to point B. That is what we call leadership.
Leadership, true.
And the thing is, at some point, as you involve yourself with leadership, it is not everyone that you begin with that you will sustain all through life. People leaving us and people walking out is something that is inevitable. But the thing is how they live and how they walk out. Now, this is what we are going to be sharing. And the man of God was going through one of the books I've written, and this book will form a very, very powerful, very, very powerful building block of our discussion. The book is called Moving On When People Walk Out of Your Life. And it is subtitled Trust, Trials, and Devils. Because somehow, you have to move on. Man of God, what has plagued many ministers of God, many leaders, many business leaders, many captains of industries, anybody that is involved with nurturing people and that is involved with helping people. One of the things I've realized has really plagued many of them is the inability to move on when someone does like a support system walks away. So the walking away may not be the issue. What happened may not be the issue. The issue is letting what happened so become part of your life. As somebody said, you look too much at a closed door that you rarely notice a door that is open. And sometimes we give so much attention to people who have left us the wrong way that we suffocate the energy we needed to invest in people that are still with us and in people that still need what we have. Because a number of times when people walk away from you, you almost even begin to question if what you have is of value.
True.
And these are some of the things that happen when people leave you, or when someone you nurtured, you trained, or someone your life depended on walks away. You're left questioning a lot of things. And it can change you either for good or for bad. We had a president when Jomo Kenyatta died in this country called Moi, and he was a gentleman, very humble man. He was a harmless guy, was a very wonderful guy. And it is said the guy was good until there was an attempted coup on his government. It turned him brutal and ruthless. And I've seen leaders, and particularly ministers of God, become ruthless, become brutal, become inhuman. I've seen leaders become inhuman, become brutal. Leave alone leaders, I've seen girls left by just a man develop very weird psychological approach to life just because of what one man did. I have seen men probably that have been played by a woman, and based on that has built hatred for every other woman and has gone a direction saying, I'll never believe a woman again in my life. Because it is not always what happens, it is how it affects us. And I think that opens us up into this.
You know, what you've said actually, sir, is quite relatable, because even as we were speaking of set, that this is something that we can never outgrow.
That's right.
That we keep encountering, we keep getting into seasons where people have to leave. And I think for me and for most people that are watching possibly what could relate, why it becomes difficult to move on, is because the way the people come, the words they speak, God sent me to you. I had a vision. And God told me that we'll be with you for life. I saw myself carrying this burden with you up to, and the way they sell it, and we buy it, and you notice that it's not people that leave after 2 or 3 months. These are people that stay with you. So there's some level of trust you've built. And they've made you so comfortable to believe that indeed they will be with you. They constantly come to tell you how they reassure you of their loyalty. And so it's like, you know, this is a done deal. I don't think about this person. And then all of a sudden, just out of the blue, you notice some behavior, and then out they go. Sir, you are left in a quagmire. You're left wondering, was it God who spoke to them? Was it God who spoke to me? What did I do wrong? What was the approach? And so I can tell you literally at that particular point, your mind dies, your thinking faculties, every wisdom you learned, every prayer you ever prayed, things just seem to evaporate out of the window.
That's right.
And you begin to, first of all, begin by questions. We never gravitated to bitterness immediately.
Yes.
You start,
There must be something wrong.
on my, what did I do, or what happened, or who talked to them, or what did they say here? So I think that's one of the reasons, in my opinion,
Yes.
that would make it very difficult for a man of God to move on. Yet we do have to move on. We really need to move on. And one thing I thank God that I was reading in the book that we are referring to. You mentioned a situation before you wrote the book, Forgive and Grow Big. And you said there was a revelation that God gave you, but it took you months, days, months, and you discovered that as you were pursuing God and moving in a particular direction, you were growing out of this particular thing.
Yes.
But I think, first of all, what I must acknowledge, it's that there is that difficult stage where you don't know where to go, north, south, east, west. You don't know who to console. It's a new reality and a very painful one.
Basically, speaking, I could call it the stage of denial, because you don't believe that this guy is the one that has left. And you don't believe that this guy is the one saying all these things. Is it him saying it, or you people are just making up what is being said? And then the next thing is, he's not just only saying them, he wants to ensure that he lives with a whole lot of people. He wants people to subscribe to their school of thought, and they want people to be part of their heart and their pain. And basically, this is the person that is trying to get back at you. Actually, it's not just leaving. It is the same person that was once so good, also now trying to get back at you and doing things to be able to get your attention. Now, it is the denial stage. And I think a few truths come in here, media. If you are very, very alert today, and you are going to help us, there is one thing Jesus did, and this is running through this book just like a silver cord, because I do believe that one of the things I've said in this book is that your standards determine how long you stand. Your standards determine your standing. And we imbibe standards by figures that we observe, by who teaches us in ministry, by who we really are following, by our models and our templates in ministry. We pick our standards from that. And I do believe that as much as every minister should be able to have a mentor, somebody they look up to, our number one standard that we ought to observe and follow is Jesus. And did Jesus do ministry? Right. Did Jesus deal with people? Right. Did Jesus come across something that I'm coming across right now? If he came across it, the word remains, a disciple is not greater than his master. A disciple is not greater than his master. Jesus said that. And man of God, together with the death of Jesus on the cross and what Jesus went through, I try to say in the book that we think is for our deliverance. There are things actually Jesus didn't deliver us out of. He said, if any man will come after me, is willing to come after me, let him deny himself. Now, his dying on the cross did not take away us denying ourselves. And then he said, let him take up his cross. Now, this is not the cross that he carried. He carried his own, he saved the world. Now, this is your own particular cross. He said, and let him carry his cross and come follow me. And Jesus said a lot of things. The world hated me. They will hate you. He didn't say the anointing will make everyone love you. He said, the world hated me, the world will hate you. He said, they persecuted me, they will persecute you. For a disciple is not greater than his master. Now, so we go back to Jesus being the model, the template, and the perfect picture of ministry, because man of God, he was tempted in all ways and he had no sin. Now, if we look at Jesus, we're looking at a perfect preacher. We're looking at God made flesh. We're looking at the embodiment of divinity among humanity. We're looking at a minister of God that has no blood, earthly blood running through his system. So Jesus didn't sleep with a woman nowhere. Jesus didn't smoke bang anywhere. Jesus didn't steal anybody's money anywhere. Jesus wasn't going to build an earthly kingdom anywhere. Now, if we look at him as our template and as our model of ministry, and we begin to look at the things he went through, and then it gives us a clue. It gives us a way we will confront things when they happen our way. And I try to now bring that. Did this ever happen to Jesus? Was Jesus ever left by people? What did he do?
You see, man of God, actually what you've outlined it so perfectly. You see, that for many pastors like me,
Yes.
is easy for me to teach it.
Yes. Yes.
To explain it,
Yes.
to express it.
Yes.
But to ever think
Yes.
that I will need that one day,
Yes.
that it happened to me. You see, now that now becomes the challenge. And I don't know, it's not that women of God or leaders in the different areas of facets of life don't appreciate the fact that will be left.
Yes.
And in fact, possibly, I would want to pause apart from the denial element. It's only that how come we don't ever think that this can ever happen to me?
That's the thing. Now, the pain is born out of the notion that I built as a minister, that if I buy them a car, they will never leave me. If I support their children's education, they will never leave me. If I become the best pastor that they can take breakfast under my bed, they will never leave me. If I can greet everyone and dish out chocolates to everyone, if I can pick calls in the middle of the night when I'm supposed to be with my family and my kids, they will never leave me. If I can invite them and they have enough meals in my house, be as good as I can to them, give them all the possible allowances that I can give them, take them on first-class flight with me wherever I go, they will never leave me. Now that takes us back to Jesus, our model man of God, because his betrayer was not just any man. His betrayer was an inner circle member.
Yes.
Is someone that he said, him that I'll give the bread when I've dipped it. He's the one. The others ate dry bread. But this particular one, the bread had to be dipped. His bread was different. This guy was in charge of the treasury. And you know, in every ministry, in every government, when we had a coalition government in this country, the contest was on the military and the treasury, because that's the backbone of everything. And this was the backbone of Jesus' ministry. And he entrusted this guy with the backbone of the ministry, the money bag. So this was not just any kind of a man. This was not just any kind of a man. Now, man of God, there are mistakes we make as ministers. And if you're watching this as a leader, a minister, or you're a woman falling in love, I say this is going to be touching all facets of life. Exactly. Your depth of pain was your depth of love and commitment.
Yes.
Now, if you can be taught certain truths at the stage of going deep into loving people, you see, man of God, I do ministers conferences, ministers therapy network. November, we're having over 1,000 pastors that are just coming to, those are people that are coming to board. We haven't talked about people who are just coming. Wow. The tent may be too small for the November ministers therapy network from all over the country. Now, there are mistakes we make while people are good. There are mistakes we make while people are still loyal. There are mistakes we make, even if you're a girl falling in love with a man, your level of pain is built in the days. Now, the pain of being left is always built in the days that they were good.
Wow.
The extent to which your enemy can damage you is determined by how you treated them when they're your friends. That's why a number of times a man has to be close enough to destroy you.
True.
So if you didn't learn how to manage the closeness, and this is one thing people should be taught, girls should be taught, people dating should be taught. While somebody is dating you, he hasn't married you. Leaders should be taught. While people are good and delivering results, like my team members who are here now, my media who is here now, it tells you the level of closeness they have. I should be able to take precautionary measures and ensure I don't become stupid in the days when they were good. Because there's always not any bad man. Any bad man is made. And any bad man is made by the people they were good to. So trying to address this attachment stage where they are good, where you hear pastors saying that my daughter, if I see her call, I know why she's calling. And that family, man of God, anytime they come in, by the time they leave, I know what is happening. So wisdom in handling the good days. And this is what Jesus said. Media, if you can get us, and he entrusted himself to no man.
Yes.
Because he knew what was in man. He knew what was in man. The challenge is we give too much information. We allow too much association. We allow people into places they have not grown into. We give gifts that people need to suffer for. And we do it in the name of love. It's like taking the keys to a Mercedes-Benz and giving it to your 15-year-old in Africa. Now, in the US, buying things like a car is not a big deal. Places like Dubai, actually the license is more expensive than a car. And so it's not a big deal because the car is not a big deal. Now, did you see that media? You got it right. And he entrusted himself to no man. I love that. Leave it just there. As a man of God, the pain, because we are going to be going into the mistakes we must not make.
Yes.
At the time and the point of being left. How to manage the pain of betrayal. You said something I said in this book, that when I wrote Forgive and Grow Big, after writing this, it was because there are things I still didn't know very well that God had to help me grow into before I can forgive. Now, if you are given messages like forgiveness, God will ensure you're not just oozing out scriptures to people that you need to forgive. God has a way of letting us teach what we have gone through practically. So when you teach about church breakup, we want to ask you, has your ministry ever been broken? When you teach about betrayal, God will allow, actually real lessons are learned in real deep betrayals. God does not do a surface job with a man he wants to entrust with people. He does a really deep job. And he has a way of hurting a man he wants to bless. So that when the blessing comes, he has hurt you enough, you have the capacity to be able to handle it. Now, man of God, so the reason the pain and the attachment and everything happens, Jesus in a way wanted us to love people and love them in a way that the day they walk away, it will not be difficult. Even if the difficulty is, the pain is minimized. The pain is minimal. Let's take a good example. A man who falls in love with a woman. There are people, man of God, who really fall in love with women. And you can see the woman's outlook changes in 1 month. People ask, girl, what is happening? The man has spoiled this woman beyond repair. She's being taken for lunch in a chopper today and tomorrow, and she's here in the morning, and she's taking dinner in London tomorrow. And all the woman is just saying that when you find somebody who really loves you, and all the girls are saying, oh my gosh, oh my God, will I ever find someone who loves me like this? What the person is doing is, him who loves you deeply can hurt you real well. And so not letting down your guard in the good days is something a pastor should be taught. The most dangerous people are not bad people. The most dangerous people are good people. The most lethal people are not people who left your ministry. They are people who are with you in your ministry. Jesus said, one of you, not one of them that left. Now, he called a private cabinet meeting. Now, man of God, I don't know if you've read the 48 Laws of Power. Dangerous people are not out there. I'm so sorry to talk like this. I didn't mean my guys here are dangerous. No. These are the, you see, they have seen me go through so much that they know what I'm saying is true. That dangerous people are not out there. Jesus had called a cabinet meeting where the 12 were the ones who were there. And he said, one of you. The guys began to say, Lord, is it I? He said, no. Lord, is it I? He said, no, Lord, because all of them knew they had the capacity to betray him. They couldn't ask, is it I, if they had not done some things behind this man.
We just wanted to find out about him.
He just wanted to find out. And so then Judas also joined in and said, Lord, is it I? And Jesus said, you have rightly said it. I thought the man was going to fall down on his face and repent. Now, man of God, if we are going to minimize the pain of exit, moving on when people leave, it begins when people are still good. And a leader has had to be nurtured and built in a way that he knows how not to be distracted by praise and how not to be distracted by being criticized. It is a place in leadership where God has to build you. Because when I did some writings, I had not experienced some things. When I experienced real deep pain, and then you forgive it. That book I wrote, Forgive and Grow Big, people read it while they are crying. Because it is born out of experience. The experiences I've gone through. These guys are here. They have seen people hurt me. They have seen people do things. They have seen people insult me every day. And they have seen the same people come back and kneel down. And I forgave without conditions. And I did things that confirm that you have truly forgiven. And that just breaks them down. Because that is an experience right over there. This is what Jesus did, because Jesus was dealing with people. The question would have said, maybe Jesus was just doing ministry with the angels, sir. He didn't have to deal with people. Jesus was getting money direct from heaven. He wasn't getting it from people. Once you are dealing with people, once you are handling people, once you are handling a human being, the military in this country is not that trained to handle a hyena or a monkey. They are that trained to handle a human being. It should tell you how dangerous a human being is. These guns you see are built, they are not built for lions and elephants. These guns are built for a human being.
Wow.
Power is with man. And these guns are protecting power. But Jesus, John chapter 2 verse number 24, did not commit himself to them.
Yes.
Because he knew all men, not just some men. He knew that the good and the bad, he knew them. The tall and the short, he knew them. The learned and the refined. You know, in ministry, meet some very refined people that you say, wow, man, that guy is refined. Are the refined and the unrefined, the beautiful and the ugly, the loyal and the disloyal. Jesus knew all men. Verse number 25. And he had no need that anyone should testify of man, for he knew what was in man. Now, when time will allow us to come to the time when what he had invested in left him, the man was operating with his knowledge. Good News Translation, verse 24 and verse 25. So, sir, we can minimize the pain, and the pain is minimized when people are still good. It's something I try to tell. You know, the other day I saw a certain man of God, and when he left us, me and my wife, we said one thing. So this man has not learned. After everything, so this guy has not learned. Why are we saying that? Because we've been able to read the patterns of this man's ministry. We've seen how he handled a certain group and what came out of it. We saw how he handled a second team. We saw what came out of it. The same thing. And now he's handling a third wave the same way he handled the first wave and the second wave. And me and Mama looked at each other and he said, so this guy has not learned. Now this is the thing. But Jesus did not trust himself to them. You know, Ilya, this is my closest son, man. This is the man who knows when I'm praying and when I'm not praying. This is the man who knows when the anointing has come and when the anointing has not come. This one, any day, anytime. You know, you hear ministers talking like that. This my daughter, oh boy, oh. And you know, you're saying that and other ministers are seated. Oh, this my girl, oh, goodness mercy. This one cannot betray me. Who are you? Oh my God. This is my daughter. And the ministers of God, this daughter, we have seen her for a long time. You may not know what you're doing. But Jesus did not trust himself to them because he knew them all. 25. There was no need for anyone to tell him about them, because he himself knew what was in their hearts. Sir, a man who loves you when you live in a one-bedroom house, his heart is bound to change when you move to a three-bedroom house. He may not tell you. I'm just trying to touch some of the realities. You are the CEO of a company, and somebody's salary has remained 100,000, and you come in a Bentley. They don't know other businesses you do. They don't know how you move about. They don't know your life, because you don't entrust your life to everyone. I won't go to church and stand and say, this is everything I do. The first thing that will run to the mind of that guy, I've been here for this all this while. This man has never given me even a Toyota. He comes in a 40-something million car. And he has communion with his heart. Okay. And the next thing he concludes, so our work is to make another man rich. Then you ask him, how much is your effort into what I do that can make me rich? He can't answer. Because Jesus knew the transactions that go on in the hearts of men. Sir, the scripture says, the heart of a man is desperately wicked. Help us, please. The heart of a man is desperately wicked. The Bible didn't say that when people are close to you, their hearts are desperately good.
Word of God. You're hitting it on the
The Bible doesn't say that when people are clapping while you're preaching, that their hearts are good. The Bible doesn't say, man of God, that when people are sons and daughters, the heart of a king is in the hands of God. Sir, what is in my heart here, even as you are seated, only God knows. The television doesn't know, only God knows. The cameras can't tell, only God tells. Now, if we come to a place where we have a total understanding of who a human being is, as we are entrusted with a place of leadership, then we will not unnecessarily get excited. We will manage what we say. We will manage the kind of association that we allow. We will know how far to bring people and how far not to bring them for their good. We will know what we ought to say about people while they are hearing, the kind of praise they can stand, the things we can say about them in public and before other people. And we will manage how not to overstep the boundaries of trust. Because what hurts many leaders is how much trust they placed in the hands of people when they assumed that the people are good. And this is our model. This is our template. This is Jesus. This is the man we are preaching. That said, that loved people, that he died for people. But sir, he had reservations. So you and I even hear preachers say, I'm not Jesus. You'll understand soon that you needed to learn from him. Now, Jeremiah says the heart is deceitful. In other words, what the heart is saying several times and what the eyes are showing, they are never true. Sir, white teeth and a white heart are never the same. I've learned that even terrible assassins will smile before they kill you. They say, oh, so you're so and so, hi man, how are you? And just while you're going to shake his hand, somebody has shot you. Abner must have trusted the smile of Joab. When Joab told him, let's go a little bit so that we can talk. And they didn't know that the man had a weapon. Many people can kill you while they're smiling. And I can tell you that anybody who is in a place of leadership and authority, a man that will last in leadership, knows how to invest his trust. Because one thing a leader must understand, and this is very, very powerful, is that a leader is a lonely man. Yes. Oh, yes. Why would Jesus leave to go to a solitary place to pray? What was he running away from? The cross cannot be meant for 3 people. So even if 3 people are hanging there, each and every man died his death. Now, several times we lose out on this truth. We lose out on the fact that these people didn't hear God. These people don't really feel what I feel. They don't sense really what God wants to do like I sense it. And even as I'm trying to entrust the vision with them, there are things I cannot entrust with them. What happens to many young leaders and many young ministers and many gullible leaders and gullible girls and boys? A man dates you for 2 weeks and is destroying your belief in everything. Is taking you at a speed that should an accident happen, you cannot be found. Please, even if you love me, spare my heart a little bit. Don't take it too fast. Be careful with people who are too fast. And it is dangerous for you as a leader to be too fast. People that trust quickly. And these are some of the things that God wants to get out of us. The heart is deceitful above all things, and the heart is desperately wicked. The question is saying the one that will never ever know the heart has not been born. Who can know the heart? And these are the people we are pastoring. These are the people we are ministering to. So, sir, this is not to make us distrust people, look at people as bad people. They are good people as well. But Jesus just decided that in the good days, I'm going to love people. Somebody puts it out very well. Love with gloves. Love deeply and hold loosely. Because the grave is not shared. There are things you can't share. You can't share a washroom. Nobody gets the call of nature. No matter how much you love your wife, it doesn't come at the same time. At any time you feel the call of nature, your wife is also feeling at the same time. You can't share the same equipment and gadget. This life, there are things that are cut out for individuality. And if ministers and leaders don't understand these things, this is where our pain is. That the day this person wakes up one morning and this person is leaving, this person basically has your heart. This person basically has your life. This person basically has everything. You begin to cry like a widow. What will I do? Where will I pick it from? Because my husband was everything. And this is what ministers do without us studying our role model in ministry, Jesus, who loved people and came to die for them, but he knew all men. And he knew so long as a man has the title a man, no matter how good he is now, always have that possibility at the back of your mind that the best man can walk out. And so that maturity begins to help a minister begin to live cautiously. That while people are good, there are things you just indict in your heart. Sir, Paul went to heaven and saw things that could not be said. There are things, not everything must be said. He saw things that could not be said, could not be expressed when he went to heaven. And for 14 years, Paul did not talk about those things. It is dangerous when a man has no secrets. It takes someone you have trained very well and you have brought too close. You drive with him in the car. You show him everything. You bring him into every aspect of your life and your house, and you almost idolize him. When such a man leaves, the pain will be in another dimension. And actually, there are people that can no longer move on beyond that. I've dealt with cases of relationships. There's a girl that we were counseling with my wife. I had to walk out of it because she began speaking things that you can't sit there and listen to that. She said, I will, and she was crying, I will speak the truth. And I can't live it. Nobody has ever touched me. She was saying things. Mama asked her, it's just a man, the other man. He said, no, I don't think there's any man that exists that can touch me. I told Mama, please, you'll be continuing, let me leave. Because she was beginning to speak things I cannot handle. Jamali Mwaribu. Now, the reason many, the reason pastors, kuna wachungaji wameharibiwa. Sasa ndiye mwaribu akitoka, he closes ministry. You know, the first breakup I had, man of God, I had 28 members. And I had a kesha in a place called Chianda House. And there was a woman that was leading a group of about 14 to 15 people that wanted, basically this woman wanted to take over the ministry. She wanted to come to a place where I'm accountable to her. And I'd seen that. She said they have looked for a house for me that is better than where I'm living now. A church is just beginning. Be careful with these kind of things. Pastor, we have looked for a house. We feel where you are is not really your class. And we have looked for it, and we are going to pay for it. And when end man comes, don't ask questions. We will take care of that. You just serve God. It looks like a breakthrough.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, it looks like, oh my gosh. Sasa mimi nimefika bana. Nimefika wapendwa. Mimi sahi hata mambo ya rent sifikiri. And this lady wanted to do that. She said, I'm going to be ensuring, we don't even have to look at the offerings. I'll ensure shopping is done in your house. So we need to know where your house is. I'll ensure if there's any need with your wife, we'll take care of it. We need to know the schools where the kids are going to go, so that you don't even have to go. You only go when parents are needed. You know, there's a lady I prayed for. When her salary was being deducted, she was getting like 1,200. When she walked into my presence, man of God, literally, the atmosphere was not comfortable because of suffering and pain. You know the grace that is on my life.
Yes.
I saw her, and when I stretched my hand towards her, she rolled on the floor, and a very weird smell left. You know, demons can leave in the form of a smell.
Yes.
The whole place was dangerously taken over by smell. And when she came back to herself, I told her, you are free. That was a spirit of poverty. And a week later, there's an office that was being established in Kenya. And a phone call is made to her in her current office. And they tell her, you don't even have time. It is 10 a.m. By 3 p.m. you should be in that office. The package that was coming with this new shift, sir, she was going to be earning a lot of money in a short span of time. Got her first salary, and things changed. And now the ministry is beginning. And she's calling her friends, come and see a man. Come and see a man. So, you know, she's having an upper hand because I don't know these people. And most of these people, she's bringing their professionals and well-to-do people at her pedigree. And so she looks at my life now and she feels they need to help me. And, sir, I'm sorry, a leader has to be very strict, even in your nothingness. You have to be very strict. When matters are sensitive as your house shopping and your house rent and your children in school and you calling a member to tell them, okay, you said we should be telling you, mama needs this, dangerous people. So when I didn't cooperate and I said, I request that my house and everything be left to me to handle, they have been handling it. These are very young ministry, 28 people. I don't want to begin things like that. I request to be left to trust God. She got offended. Called me one time when she's at the gate. It was a community enclosed place at the gate and said, I'm here. I brought some money. I want to know the house number. She was determined to take charge of my house. I told one young man who was always with me, I said, go tell her that I don't allow that. We have the church details and we also have my details. I don't tolerate that. People coming to my house to bring church matters and issues and money and stuff like that. No. Let her use any of that. We were having an overnight prayer that, like from 2 days from that time. So she came to the overnight prayer with another team. And it's like she was the one adding me members in the church. So that night we had like 30-something people, and 3/4 of that number was brought by her. And I think she was deeply offended and she wanted to get back at me. And immediately I stood to speak, she walked out with her team. That was lesson number 1. The question that rang in my heart, supposing you allowed those things you wanted to allow, what would you be hearing outside? I've included that in this book. As a young minister, I couldn't see well again. Nilisikia kizunguzungu. Nilihubiri hiyo usiku kwa neema. Kwa neema baba, nilihubiri kwa neema. The following day I couldn't take breakfast. I can't eat, I can't sit down. My wife said, what's the problem? You know, my wife is much tougher. What is the problem? I said, Mama, you didn't see what happened. He said, oh, I was close to my pastor before I married you. And he went through a lot. And now that God has called you, that's why God brought me to your life. Tighten your belt. That is ministry. You have seen nothing yet. I said, oh, instead of this woman feeling pitiful for me, it's just, that's why a pastor must not marry a weakling.
True.
because things will be said about us. So, sir, that was the first experience, the pain. Because you can imagine just being a young minister, you had banked on these people, you were excited, the church is growing. Now, that is what I'm trying to talk about. The pain later springs from, we never had the wisdom, we never had the ability to sieve and to know that man can only do so much. The ability to know where not to bring man, how far to bring people, how far not to bring people, what not to say, no matter how much you love them, while they are good.
While
Not when they are bad.
While they are good.
While they are good. Because now, after I learned those lessons, man of God, you graduate to a place in your work with God where it doesn't affect you the way it used to affect you. Now, then you know now you are safe. And even God looks down from heaven, says, that's my boy. That's it. That's right. Now there's a journey this man can travel. I never used to speak to ministers back then, because what are you going to tell them? You can't be talking to a people going through what you've never gone through. Ever since you began ministry, nobody has ever left your ministry. You've grown a 10,000-seater church that nobody has ever left. And you are talking to pastors who people are leaving. So I don't know what you have to say, sir, but my own little 5 cents that I can put into this is that if we don't observe the relationship, how we do things when people are good, how we invest our hearts, how much we allow, the boundaries we don't create. Because when people are good to a pastor or to a leader, be it in government, be it in institutions, be it in organizations, leaders and strong leaders, very ethical leaders, very powerful leaders, are known to let down their guard when the deal is too good. And the pain they suffer later is built in that time they let down their guard, because they believe that for this guy to have been with me here, oh my goodness, I don't have to worry about anything. That's why in the 48 laws of power, they say anybody that helps you ascend the throne, as soon as you go up, fix him. He knows too much to remain alive. Now, as pastors, I'm not saying we start killing people. We can't apply that.
Yes.
But all truth is parallel, according to Dr. Maurice Cerullo. In other words, just watch how they do it there, and you'll find an insight, one way or the other, of how to handle people who have helped you too much. You know, some ministers even go overboard mentioning it. Did you see the car in the parking? It is this couple. It is this couple. Let's clap for them. You think you are very smart. You think you are being appreciative. Many pastors have lost people they unnecessarily exposed. Unnecessary exposure. There are things we will be going to discuss with you as men of God. I will not invite them. Because in their minds, they cannot process some things. They can't relate with your pain. And then we just lose ourselves and start talking before them. You know what mama alikwaza sana jana? They are listening. There's a forum where that is supposed to come.
Yes, true.
But you see, if you do not create intelligent, spiritual, godly boundaries, Jesus said he knew men. And one thing Jesus did not dare do is to let down his guard and give man the place of God, because he knew men. Talk to me, sir.
Now, in fact, a question actually. Where do you strike a balance as a leader, as a pastor, in relating with people so that you don't deal with them suspiciously?
Yes.
Still love them, but you're handling, you're also being very careful not to allow them to be very, very close to your heart. And then how do you keep this wall up? Because like you said, for me, like that lady, you know, and for many pastors would think this is an answer to prayer.
Yes.
And Possibly it's just the principle that, like you said, your standards make you they give you your standing at that time. But for many, possibly they don't have that. And for many men of God, what we look for is my reward will come through those kind of, Pastor, don't worry about this, don't worry about the other. So where do we strike the balance where I don't relate with people suspiciously,
Yes.
but I still keep them at a good length where they can feel my love as a leader, but there's still that space where it's reserved for, you know.
I do believe that all kinds of people are watching. And what we are basically doing, even in this sitting,
Yes.
is that we are doing just that. We are trying to let leaders know when your pastor tries to take a break and to not to include you in certain areas of his life is for your protection. And letting them know that I'm doing this to protect you. I would have loved to do that. You know, it's very difficult for a man of God, unless he hears God, to turn down an offer of a house.
Yes.
Pastor, we rent out houses. We have built several. And we are landlords. And we feel instead of you paying house rent, you can live in one of our houses and pay nothing. It looks like a miracle, but the moment you take that offer, there's something you'll never be able to teach. Even when these guys are on the wrong, I can tell you for free, you need to have been sent by God to correct the wrong. And I think sincere teaching of stuff like this helps leaders.
Yes.
You love them, so when you tell them, I love you, but because of the nature of my prayer life, allow me not to make my house a regular place. You know, while somebody still loves you, they hear what you have to say. Oh, Papa, it's okay, Papa. It could have really been good, but we respect you. So intentionally make known your life. I don't go that way. I will not tolerate that. I will not allow that. Please, Pastor, we just felt like we should come to your house and cook for you, and you and Mommy, you can just be resting, and we'll be cooking, and we'll be taking care of the house. Sounds really good. I know a man of God that the guy who used to come to his compound every Saturday to cut grass for him out of loyalty. When the man rebelled, the man wrote him a text and said, the same panga I used to cut grass, now I can use it to take off your head. You see that? We think that raising people means that we have to so mingle that we make use of all the services they have. Of course, there are people God will raise armor bearers over the times. Again, man of God, we are not trying to cure betrayal, because betrayal cannot be cured.
I think that's very important.
But it's important to keep safety measures and let it be very well known to them. Like, these are my sons. Letting them know, no, that one will not happen. That one will not happen. I don't go that way. Your standards can be communicated so easily, and particularly people learn from you and they still love you. And that they take what you say. Okay, you would have loved to cut grass, but it's okay. No, just no problem. Somebody does it. Because people have made mistakes where the guard at the gate is from church. The cook is from church. Everybody around them is from church. The man painting their mother's house in the village is from church. The man negotiating. These are mistakes we have made. And let me tell you one truth on this stage, on this seat, as we sit here. People that have been given too much access rarely stay around the ministry for long.
Wow.
Because you destroyed them.
Wow.
You must know the part of your life that you can entrust with people, and the part of your life that remains a secret. Nothing wrong with them visiting your village, but there has to be very chosen few, because you've known them over the time. A man of God, an elderly man of God in this city, carried the elders to his ranch in the village, and they saw the massive work this man has done. This is an elder that is involved with a lot of things apart from ministry. They saw the house he has built. He came back with those elders. And in 2 weeks, he remained only with 2. They called a meeting. Because the signal that went to these elders is that, so we are being used. So this man is that rich. And the thing, it wasn't true. These are very serious things. And so, man of God, you can always communicate your boundaries. Dear minister of God, dear servant of God, dear leader, communicating your boundaries is a language you must master. You see, access into certain areas will strengthen battles in the day battles come. Because then you are now dealing with someone who even knows what they are not supposed to know. And you will not escape the trap. How are pastors poisoned? How are pastors shot dead? And you see, once you have allowed a certain class of people around you, even when they go out and lie, because once you are in some form of influence,
Yes.
People are very curious to know about you. How do you live? What do you do? How is it off the stage? And these people, even when they lie, people tend to believe them. Gehazi easily lied with the name of Elisha. A guest has just come, and my master has sent me that you give us something. Why did Naaman believe so fast? Because Naaman saw him there when he came.
Yes, true.
So who you are being seen with, who you are tolerating around you, you must intentionally put these people to the test. But again, not forgetting that if a thief was around Jesus' own ministry and was stealing and betrayed him and killed him, then betrayal has no cure. But safety measures can be put. My answer is intentionally communicate your boundaries. You see, I've pastored this church for some time now. And anybody who has been around me for some time will tell you what I can do and what I cannot do. Why? Because I've intentionally communicated my values. Man of God, I'm not perfect. I'm not above reproach. But for many years now, most of my counseling sessions don't happen inside the office. Hata ukisikia nitaona watu viti mbili zinawekwa pale karibu na madhabahu. You know, the tent is big. And people sit very far. And you'll always see one brother there. Haizisikia kile tunasema mwingine yako huko. And we are with you here in the city. You can say anything you want to say. Because people are watching us. So you can't say that, and then we have the cameras also rolling. So you can't easily say that pastor wanted to rape me. Because they are all watching. They are not hearing. You have your privacy. But if you try to make any funny move, you are being watched. That is number one. Number two, sir, with all due humility, my food, for the number of years I've pastored, is always cooked by a brother. Iwe kachai, unless mama akiwa. The ladies, I have a son in ministry here called Joseph, and he serves with his wife in the kitchen. His wife has never entered my office to come and serve me. Kazi yake naishia kwa ofisi. Joseph carries the food and brings and serves and clears the table. Yeye ndiye anazunguka hapa kwa macho yangu hapa. Na anazunguka na chakula na anapika. Analeta mama akishapika analeta hapa. Tunakula. Not even my wife's sister serves in my office. So, and it has been like that. When I'm going to sleep in church, my entourage that are with me around while I'm praying, one of them is in media here. He lives in church. And they have the key to my office. Now you say, Pastor, that could be too much. Supposing they get that man that has the key to your office. Just try, Jesus is watching them. Now, I did those things intentionally. Because one time I was counseling a pastor and he said the things he used to see in the pastor's office. He could pick condoms in the office while he's cleaning. Destroyed him. And eventually he also developed that lifestyle. So all these things are a way of communicating your values. I can tell you for free that at King's Gathering Church up until now, it is just known that hakuna daughter utaona amekuja ati daddy, papa, let me No, it's my own values I built. And then I've communicated my values over the time. The first time I had a daughter who was serving like a secretary, and she cooked lunch. We were still in Shaurimoyo, and my door was locked. When I'm in the office, even when I was with them, two brothers had gone to do something who are with me in the office, and only this girl was left, is my daughter and the Lord. And she knocked the door, Papa, Papa. I said, okay. What is it, Marianne? And he said, Daddy, I've just cooked and I've brought you food. I said, just keep it in the kitchen. When Patrick comes, he will take it and bring it. Haikumuingia vizuri because she trusts her spiritual father, and she looks up to me as a father, and she has nothing, totally no ill mind. But later on, as I was talking to her, I said, supposing a member walked in this posh, cool office with a couch here, and now you are serving me my lunch here on the table and rotating around me here, and you are not even married in the first place. We are only the two of us. The next time you get offended and you start talking, what will they not believe? And she said, it hurt me, Daddy, that you could not accept my food, but I understand you. And from that day, she got it right. They'll prepare the food when it is ready. Patrick, because Mr. Flesh is not our friend.
True.
I was telling one man of God, you see these tight skirts that your choir is wearing and you're enjoying looking at them. You think that is the in thing now. It will come back at you. Be careful. He didn't listen. So your values can be communicated without you suspecting people. And you can pass it while you're preaching. Severally, you'll hear me while I'm preaching. I make fun of it and they laugh. But it is a value communicated. Hey. One time I said, Sazia nakula chakula haijapikwa vizuri, lakini huyu ndugu akishapika tukusifu. Heaven we must enter. Now watu wanacheka, but it's a value communicated. So any of my people that has the privilege to have me visit, the first thing they always say, you coming with mama? Why is it very fast when you coming with mama? Because I've been able to communicate that value part. I went to receive tithe one time when the ministry was very young, where I learned the first lesson. I went with one brother, so this lady, she would call me for tithe. It never rang in my mind. I was very young in ministry. I would go pick the tithe and come out, thank God, this is my member. Then one time Mama had delivered. So she was just newly delivered and all that. And the lady called me to go for tithe. I knew her house, I knew her shop. So I went to the shop, the worker said she's gone to the house, and I went with this brother. So as we were going up the stairs, I had a car, a KAM 145C. I had that car before starting the ministry. So we drove there. So the brother said, hey, man of God, I don't know why in my heart I feel like, let me go, you follow me. He was a well-built, a well-built brother. He was always with me. In case the Holy Ghost fails. So we went to pick the tithe, sir. And, these are these buildings that when even daytime you have to put on light because of the darkness of the apartment. So there was light in other houses and music playing as we go up the stairs. But amazingly, when we got by the door, there was darkness. There wasn't any sign of life in our house. So the brother said, let me knock. So when the brother knocked the door, she opened the door. I think she thought it was me. And she pulled the brother in. She was as naked as bananas. And because the brother was strong, the brother battled with her. And what I heard is the brother say, Pastor, run. Sir, how I left third floor to ground floor, it remains a mystery until today. And the brother joined me. Within no time he was down. I asked him, did you pick the tithe? He said, man of God, you ask, we should be running, not asking if I picked the tithe. We forgot we came with the car. We ran on foot. We ran on foot. And so I learned that this thing that a member will just call, say, Daddy, come and pick this, and you go there. Even if you have to go, I still visit people, but it's important for integrity purposes to move with someone. And then now those are things that after you go through, you begin to learn what building a value system is all about. It is for your safety. Sir, you can communicate this to people without letting them look like you're suspecting them. Because it is also a problem when you suspect every woman. You suspect every girl. You said, I don't, no. It can be done in a decent way. We're taking a short break, our dear viewers, and we will be coming back to you to conclude on this. The book is Moving On When People Walk Out of Your Life. And part of what I summarize in here is building that value system. Why people hurt so much at the point of the breakup. That they hurt so much at the point of the breakup because of unwise investment in the people and not having created boundaries and not having let them know how far they should go and how far they shouldn't go. We allowed people spoil us. And so when they are walking away, it becomes very hard to remain afloat. Brethren, this book is available for every leader, every captain of industry, every hurting lady that has been left by a good man, or every brother that has been left by a good wife. People have walked out of all of us. But how do I stay afloat? What are the mistakes I must not make? Because it is not a question of if it will happen. It's a question of when it will happen. We are all left by people we value at a certain stage of life. But don't let them live with your heart. Don't let them live with your ministry. Don't let them live with your prayer life. Don't let them live with your self-confidence. Nobody's worth leaving you and you die because somebody walked out of your life. This book can be yours today for your love gift of 1,000 Kenyan shillings. The details are all over. You can inbox, you can call, and you can be able to find out. You can write and you can say, I need the book. A pastor that is hurting, a leader that is hurting, you need this book. Moving On When People Walk Out of Your Lives. We're seeing you after this break. God bless you.